The United States Justice Department's internal watchdog has said that the former FBI Director James Comey made a serious error of judgment when he announced that he was reopening a probe into presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server shortly before the 2016 elections. FBI Director Christopher Wray has said that the agency has accepted a watchdog's finding on its conduct during the investigation into former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's emails and said employees would be held accountable for any misconduct. The United States top court sided with the Trump administration against China when it overturned a lower court verdict which had allowed two Chinese vitamin C making firms to escape a fine of $148 million for violating American antitrust law. The White House has defended the U.S. President Donald Trump administration's policy of separating children from their family members detained at the U.S.-Mexico border by saying that it's a way to deter illegal crossings. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has released a video of converted Walmart store in Texas, which is being used as a detention center for children forcibly separated from their families at the border by American immigration officials. The New York State Attorney General has sued the Trump Foundation, which is run by U.S. President Donald Trump and his children, on the grounds that Trump illegally used the non-profit as a personal checkbook for his own benefit, including his 2016 presidential campaign. The United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met with Chinese President Xi Jinping on June 14th, just 2 days after the historic summit between the United States and North Korea in Singapore. Vladimir Putin has invited North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for a visit to Russia in September. The Russian president asked North Korean official Kim Yong-nam at their meeting to pass an invitation to visit Russia in September to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Greece's Prime Minister is set to face a no-confidence motion in the parliament over the name deal with neighbouring Macedonia. The opposition has accused the Prime Minister of trying to capitalize on nationalism through the deal. Thousands of people took to streets in the Greek capital of Athens to protest the parliament's approval of bailout reforms. Greek lawmakers have approved a bill introducing more creditor-mandated reforms that would impact taxes, pensions and healthcare. Argentina's lower house of Congress has approved a historic bill to legalize abortion by a narrow margin. The bill is now pending approval in the Latin American nation's Senate. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has named Delcy Rodriguez the head of the Constituent Assembly as the vice president as he reshuffled his cabinet after his widely condemned re-election in May. A court in Hungary has sentenced 4 human traffickers involved in the deaths of 71 migrants in a refrigerated truck discovered on an Austrian highway in 2015 to 25 years in prison. The Saudi-led coalition backing the exiled Yemeni government has captured a town south of the Yemeni port city of Hodeidah. Fierce fighting has erupted in the area between Iran-aligned Houthi rebels and a Saudi coalition for control over the key port. Pro-Houthi rebels police have been manning checkposts in Hodeidah in Yemen as residents prepare flee bombardments after a Saudi-led coalition launched an offensive on the coastal city. Violent clashes between police and protesters continue in Bolivia. Students, professors and activists have been demanding the Latin American country's government to increase university spending by $20 million annually to aid poor students. Protesters in Nicaragua have stepped up their campaign for the ouster of embattled President Daniel Ortega. Thousands of shopkeepers and businessmen have gone a national strike to protest against Ortega's decision to increase taxes. The American state of New Jersey has legalized sports betting. New Jersey won a case in the United States top court last month which cleared the way for legal sports betting. The move is likely to pave a way sports betting in other U.S. states. A restraining order has been issued in Los Angeles against the carer of Marvel Comics magnate Stan Lee following allegations of elder abuse. Kea Morgan, who has been Lee's manager for several months, has been accused of taking advantage of his vulnerability. The 95-year-old Stan Lee is the co-creator of comics such as Spider-Man and Black Panther. British singer Adele attended the first anniversary of Grenfell fire, which killed 72 people in London last year. The Hello singer was spotted singing along to the song Lean on Me as she bereaved families and survivors of the tragedy.
To our family.
Doves were released at the Grenfell Memorial Ceremony as London remembered the victims of the deadly fire. Many of the participants wore green, which is the colour adopted by survivors of the Grenfell Tower fire. The social housing block was engulfed by flames in the middle of the night last year. Action movie star Jackie Chan memoir called Never Grow Up will be released in November this year. The Karate Kid star has released earlier a memoir called I Am Jackie Chan, My Life in Action in 1998. Never Grow Up is said to be a candid account of his youth and his numerous near-death experiences on and off camera. Veteran journalist from the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir, Shujat Bukhari, was shot dead outside his office in Srinagar. The police has now released the CCTV footage of the three suspects. Bukhari was the editor-in-chief of Rising Kashmir newspaper. The Indian Army soldier who was abducted by terrorists in the Jammu and Kashmir state was found dead. The bullet-riddled body of the soldier Aurangzeb was found at Guso in Pulwama district in the state. Police and the army had launched a massive search operation for the Indian soldier. Floods triggered by heavy rainfall have claimed the lives of nearly a dozen of people in the northeast region of India. The floods have displaced thousands of people. Several rivers are flowing above danger level and landslides, submerged roads and railway tracks have affected the transport system in over 4 states. The southern Indian state of Kerala is battling monsoon fury as incessant rainfall has led to flash floods in the region. The floods have left several people stranded in Kozhikode district of the state. The Chief Minister of Indian State of Goa, Manohar Parrikar, has returned to his home in Goa after spending 3 months in the United States, where he'll be undergoing treatment for pancreatic cancer. "20 crew members were rescued after a container ship caught fire in the Bay of Bengal. The joint rescue mission was led by the Indian Coast Guard, the Navy and the Kolkata Port Trust. The MV SSL Kolkata caught fire around midnight. Passing ships reported the disaster to Kolkata Port Trust at Haldia in the eastern Indian state of West Bengal. The FIFA World Cup fever have caught everyone, including the United States Security Council. In honor of the World Cup, the UNSC members wore their country's football jerseys and posed for photographs. The members even played the sport inside the council's chamber. Poland has set a new Guinness World Record for the largest number of people juggling footballs at the same time for 10 seconds. 1,444 people of all ages took part in the event. Italy set the previous record with 1,006 participants. Actor Jeff Goldblum has received a star on Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Jurassic Park actor has starred in some of the highest grossing movies in cinema history. The special honor came just a week ahead of the release of Goldblum's film Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Popular American television host and comedian Ellen DeGeneres has returned to stand-up comedy after 15 years. DeGeneres will embark on a stand-up comedy tour in limited run of shows in the US West Coast in August. The 60-year-old host began her career in the 1980s as a stand-up comedian in her hometown of New Orleans before launching her comedy show. The Eiffel Tower will soon be surrounded with bulletproof glass walls to protect the iconic monument from terrorist attacks. The new perimeter will be unveiled to the public next month. The tower has been under constant surveillance since November 2015 Paris attacks, in which 130 people were killed. NASA astronauts stepped outside the International Space Station to install and replace high-definition cameras. NASA has said that the new additions will help capture the future spacecraft docking. The United States has returned a rare copy of a letter written by Christopher Columbus in 1493 announcing his discovery of the New World to the Vatican. The letter was stolen and replaced with a forgery. It's the third such return in recent years after US investigators determined that several authentic copies of the Columbus letter had been stolen from libraries across Europe and replaced with forgeries. The Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, joined Queen Elizabeth for their first outing together. The duo visited several places in northern England. During their visit to Chester, Queen Elizabeth and Markle observed a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the Grenfell Tower fire disaster. United States prosecutors have launched a probe to determine whether Hollywood actor Sylvester Stallone should be charged in connection with a sexual assault reported last year. The case involves a woman who alleged that the Rocky actor assaulted her in the 1980s when she was a teenager. Stallone had a sexual encounter with her while shooting a film in Israel in 1987 while he was single.